So we're going to start there tonight. Our views of relationships. Let's talk about the way in which we view, or the way in which we see relationships. I want to emphasize this. Last week we talked all about our relationship with Christ and everything. Tonight it's going to be a little more loose, a little more kind of laid back. So we're going to have a little fun with this, but there's also some things that I want you to get. It's kind of like those things that like everybody's supposed to know, but they either ignore or just forgot. And so we're going to cover those things tonight, though. But, views of relationships. Some people view relationships like yard sales. All right, I shared this with the modern service on Sunday. It's like a yard sale. From a distance, looks like a lot of fun. Up close, looks like a bunch of junk they don't need. That's how some of us view relationships. I don't want just one person. I don't want to be tied down. We say things like that. We have different ideas of what dates are. If you lived in the Philippines and you were to go on a traditional date, not only, guys, would you be taking her on the date, but her entire family goes with you. Mom, dad, brother, sister, grandma, grandpa. Everybody, you are dating them all. Congratulations. You're paying for that one. All right? We use different terminology for what we are doing, or dating somebody. Hey, are you guys dating? No, we're just talking. I mean, come on. Hey, are you guys dating? No, we're seeing each other. Really? Okay. I see you. All right. Okay. We're just hanging out. What does that mean? Hanging out? Doesn't everybody do that? I don't know. Oh, here's my favorite. Oh, we're just friends. You're right, because I only date my enemies. Yeah, that's really good. Good to do. And we even get defensive when somebody accuses us of dating somebody, especially if we're with somebody who is fine for now, but we're always trying to keep, on the lookout for somebody else there to replace them. We get real defensive, and we say things like, I don't want a boyfriend right now. Translation, I want a boyfriend, but you're not him. All right? Guys, take note of that. My favorite, I've never had a girl say this to me, but I have had friends who were girls say this to other people, and I laughed. And I have had guys who've had this said to them by girls, I really want to focus on my relationship with God right now. Anybody? Anybody? Come on. Come on. Nobody focuses on it. All right. And I mean, think about this. So, like, you're dating Jesus? Really? You can only have one relationship at a time in your life. Okay? So, like, if I wanted to take you to the Outback Steakhouse, you would have to break up with Jesus. So, be like, look, girl, I just want to share a bloomin' onion. I don't want to bring Yahweh into all of this, okay? That's a little too deep to bring him into the mix here. I like the bloomin' onion. I mean, come on, all right? It's crazy. And people who are fine for now, these fine people that we're talking about, some of us are in the room here. All right? You get, those kind of people, they get monkey barred too. So not only do they get told all these other things, but they get monkey barred. Anybody ever been monkey barred? When you were a kid, all right, playing on the monkey bars, how many of you played on the monkey bars? You swing from one bar to the next. This is not a difficult concept. Some of you have nightmares about the monkey bar. I fell and it was bad. Okay. All right, you've got one hand on this bar, okay, and your destination is all the way down there at the other end. And so you've got a grip, a death grip on this thing, all right? And you are swinging with the other hand, and you're trying to reach for that next bar that's closer to the place you want to be, but you're not going to let go of the bar you're clinging to until you've got a nice firm grip on the next one. People who are fine for now, they get monkey barred because, you've got that person that you're dating, and you think, everything is great, this is wonderful, awesome. While at the same time, they've got one hand clenching you, and they're reaching for the next one. They're like, this is more of what I want. But they're not going to let go of you until they know, I've got a nice, good grip on the next one that I really want. And then finally, they got a good grip on that one, they let go of you. It's like, you're like, I didn't even know anything was wrong. What happened? You were fine for now. You got monkey barred. It happens. Some of you are sitting there right now, like, man, I got monkey barred. Good grief. I should have saw it coming. How did that happen? Right? But I want you guys to know tonight, God has something so much better for you than fine for now. And He designed you to be so much more than just fine for now. You are not made to be just fine for now. And eventually what happens, instead of going for that dream girl or that dream guy, we settle for something that's fine for now, or we become someone who is fine for now. They're not exactly what we should be looking for, and we're not being the person that we really want to be. But you know what? It could be worse. Things could be worse. Hey, those people are over there doing all that other stuff. you know what, I'm not as bad as they are. It could be worse. So we live this life that's just fine. So I want you guys to think about this tonight. When someone likes you and they speak about you, they talk about you, they think about you, how would they describe you? If there's someone out there that's considering dating you or wanting to have a relationship with you, how do these people describe you? Are you just fine for now? When someone is fine, when you're fine with someone, you're just kind of acceptable for that moment. But in order to stay with that person, you're going to have to change a whole lot. Because you're only okay for them in that moment. You're not a keeper. If you're a person that is being viewed as fine for now, I'm going to share something with you tonight, because a lot of times we try to cast blame on everyone and everything else. If you are viewed as fine for now, that's on you. You have nobody else to blame but you. If that's the way people view you, it's because the choices you've made and the things that you've done. That's on you. So don't start blaming other people. Well, people describe me that way because that's what everybody else thinks. Well, they think that because something happened, a choice you made, a decision that was made. That's on you. A person who doesn't want to be seen as fine for now doesn't go looking for other people who are fine for now and start dating them. They don't act in ways that would cause people to question their character. They have expectations of themselves and of the people that they date. They're not just going to go date anybody. They have expectations. And here's what the Bible says about a girl that's more than fine. Guys, there's patience involved in both. In Exodus chapter 13, the children of Israel had just been freed from Egypt. In verse 17, it says that God doesn't make them go through Philistine country, which was a shorter route. See, instead he takes them this long way around by the Red Sea. See, God knew that if they were to go through the Philistine country right then, right after they left Egypt, that they would have to face war. And it would be a very difficult war. Now, they would win, yes, I believe that. But it would be a very difficult war, and many of them, having to face that battle at that moment in their life, they would have been extremely discouraged. And they would have wanted to turn back to Egypt. They would have wanted to go back to what they were. So they had to be patient, and they had to prepare. God knew what he was doing. You see, God knows that if you get caught in an unhealthy relationship, at this stage, especially in your life, that it can have some severe, damaging effects on the rest of your life. It can have some extremely negative impact on what God wants to do with you right now. Not just in the future, but right now. Go back to the verse for this series, 1 Corinthians 9:24. It says, Paul compares it to running a race. You've all been to the stadium and seen the athletes race. Everyone runs, one wins. Run to win. And once again, Paul's emphasizing there, you know what? Don't just be fine with competing. Don't just be okay with beating a couple people. No, run to win. And later on, this kind of metaphor he's got going here, it kind of he carries it on. In Galatians chapter 5, starting with verse 7, it says, you are running superbly. I like that. He's saying there, you weren't just fine with being in the race. No, you were winning. You were running to win. He says, who cut in on you, deflecting you from the true course of obedience? This detour doesn't come from the one who called you into the race in the first place. He says, you were doing great. Things were awesome. You weren't just fine. You were really running. You weren't thinking, at least I'm going better than other people. He says, then who cut in on you? Who distracted you? Who caused you to make a detour? Who took your focus off of God? And see, guys, when we lower ourselves, when we lower our standards, our expectations to become someone who's just fine for now, we begin to allow other people to kind of cut in on us on this race that we're running. And we're supposed to be trying to win, but they're distracting us and they're cutting us off, and they're not enabling us to run this course that we're supposed to be running, this straight and narrow path that it's talking about here. It messes that up. They kind of get in the lane that we were running in, and it messes up everything. And Paul is very clear when he says that detour wasn't from God. Guys, when a bad relationship, when a relationship that you shouldn't have been in the first place falls apart and you feel heartbroken and upset and messed up, what do we do almost every time? We want to blame God. God, why would you allow that person in my life? And God's like, hello, fine for now. I told you, pay attention. Come on. God's like, I didn't send that into your life. You invited that in. You allowed that person. You welcomed them to cut you off by living a life that was fine for now. And then he speaks to the people who are looking for someone that is just fine for now. In verse 10, at the very end of it, it says, but the one who is upsetting you, whoever he is, I think it's funny, it says he, whoever he is, will bear the divine judgment. You know, if you are looking for a person that's fine for now, and because you lack the patience to wait and seek what God really has in store for you, then you are cutting in on people's race. You are messing somebody else up. And what it says here is that you will bear divine judgment. The second one here, how will you be remembered? Guys, every time you begin a relationship, you are preparing for the way it will end. That's an odd way to think about it. But let's be honest. Chances are it's going to end. So ask yourself, after this relationship, these are questions you ask before you're in a relationship. That's why I said we're targeting single people here tonight. Before you even enter that relationship, after that relationship, how do I want to be remembered? Do I want to be remembered as the self-confident person, the great catch? Do I want him to describe me later on, or her to describe me later on as the one that got away? Or do I want to be remembered as the fun one, the easy one, the needy one, the suffocating one, or the one who's just fine for now? Let's put it in today's terms. You can start the relationship. You can say, you know what, I'm going to be the booty call, or I'm going to be the one that got away. Third one, looks and sounds can be deceiving. I want to throw that in there. Sounds can be deceiving. Have you guys ever been to like an authentic Mexican restaurant and ordered fajitas? Anybody ever ordered fajitas? I did this a couple weeks ago. And I've done this before, and I've had some odd experiences. But when fajitas, have you ever been in a restaurant where somebody else ordered fajitas? Okay? When fajitas come out, it is like an ordeal that takes place in the restaurant. Fajitas have their own music when they come out. It's like they're still cooking on the plate, and so it's like steam is rising. It's like a fog machine is going off, like fajitas have entered the room. You know? It's like, and everybody's looking like, ooh, fajitas. And they don't just like open the door to bring out the fajitas. No, it's like somebody kicks open the door to bring out the fajitas. And when you get fajitas, it's like, you know, there's stuff that's still cooking. And then there's like 10 other plates. You got your tortillas, you got your guacamole, your cheese, all this other stuff that you put on them. So one person can't bring out no. It's like the entire kitchen empties out. And it's like this procession of your meal coming to you at your table. And you've got so many plates and stuff that everybody else has to take their plate and sit it in their lap because they have to make room for the fajitas. And they are spread out before you, this amazing meal, still cooking and sizzling and making all this noise. You're like, this is going to be good. It smells good. It looks good. It's like, oh man. And then you take a bite. And if you ever ordered the fajitas and they've come out and you were all pumped and psyched and everybody in the restaurant's looking like, I wish I had ordered fajitas. And you say goodbye and you feel like you're chewing on a rubber tire. And they're bland. And it's not exactly what you ordered. It's like, this is just all right. And I'm not one of those people that sends food back because I don't like saliva in my next meal. And so, you know, I'll just be fine with it for this meal, okay? They had the appearance of being like the best meal ever. But really it was just fine for them. And I tell you that story to kind of bring about this point. A lot of us put so much emphasis on the looks and the sound and the appearance of somebody that will allow other things about them to kind of slide by. Basically, we're fine if they're fine. They can do whatever they want. They can say whatever they want. They can act however they want. As long as they look good, it don't matter.